Questions for Mr. Allen on a motion by Councilmember Anderson and seconded by Councilmember Berge. This item is moved. Is there any discussion regarding agenda item number 11? Seeing none. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Emanuel.
Aye.
Gregert.
Aye.
Klinkhammer.
Aye.
Lohr.
Aye.
Weld.
Aye.
Worthman.
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
Beaton.
Aye.
Berge.
Aye.
Christofferson.
Aye.
And that item passes unanimously. Agenda item number 12 is a resolution approving the third addendum to the final condominium plat of 222 Water Street condominiums. Mr. Allen? Does council have any questions for Mr. Allen, or one moment? Mr. Allen.
Yes, thank you, Council President Weld and members of the council.
Good afternoon.
So you can hear me okay?
We can hear you fine. Yep, thank you.
Great, thank you. Just wanted to give a quick overview of this before moving ahead, but this is before the Plan Commission at their meeting last week. It is recommended for approval before you this afternoon. This, again, as noted, is the third addendum to the condominium plat for 222 Water Street condominiums. As you are probably aware, this is a four-story building with basement parking. I did want to note that what has changed with this addendum, or the reason for the addendum, I should say, why it's before you here this afternoon, is that the proposed lessee for Unit 1 has been assigned responsibility by the owner for all maintenance and taxes for the adjacent east parking lot, since the lessee will have exclusive use of that. Thus, the east parking lot is included as a part of the addendum for Unit 1. So that's the primary purpose for the addendum before you this afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Does council have any questions? Again, any questions for Mr. Allen? I'm not seeing any. Thank you very much. So on a motion by Councilmember Lohr and seconded by Councilmember Christofferson, this item is moved. Is there any discussion? Again, any discussion regarding agenda item number 12? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Gregert.
Aye.
Klinkhammer.
Aye.
Lohr.
Aye.
Weld.
Aye.
Worthman.
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
Beaton.
Aye.
Berge.
Aye.
Christofferson.
Aye.
Emanuel.
Aye.
And that item passes unanimously. Agenda item number 13 is a resolution approving a certified survey map with right-of-way dedication for properties at the western terminus of Lorch Avenue. Are there any questions for Mr. Allen in regards to this agenda item?
Council President Weld, this is Scott again.
Hi.
Hi. I may defer to Mr. Nick if he's available to chime in, but it may be appropriate to suspend the rules for this item and move it to after item number 17. It is related to that zoning. However, it is not an ordinance for action. It is simply a resolution. Hence, it's on your agenda before the rezoning. So it'd be more appropriate to have the discussion on the ordinance for rezoning, item number 17, before hearing this item.
Do I need to move that? All right, so on a motion then by Councilmember Klinkhammer and seconded by Councilmember Worthman, we will move this item to follow agenda item number 17. Is there any discussion regarding this motion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Klinkhammer,
Aye.
Lohr,
Aye.
Weld,
Aye.
Worthman,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Beaton,
Aye.
Berge,
Aye.
Christofferson,
Aye.
Emmanuel,
Aye.
Greigert.
Aye.
So that item is moved to follow agenda item number 17. Moving on to agenda item number 13, Moving on to agenda item number 14, a resolution creating a new voting ward within the city of Eau Claire. Ms. Repo, anything else you wish to share? Does council have any questions for Ms. Repo in regards to this agenda item? I'm not seeing any. Then on a motion by Councilmember Greigert and seconded by Council Vice President Emmanuel, this item is moved. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Lohr,
Aye.
Weld,
Aye.
Worthman,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Beaton,
Aye.
Berge,
Aye.
Christofferson,
Aye.
Emmanuel,
Aye.
Greigert,
Aye.
Klinkhammer.
Aye.
And that item passes unanimously. Under ordinances for action, agenda item number 15, we have an ordinance rezoning a property located at 3801 Gateway Drive from TC3 to C3P and to adopt a general development plan with site plan for a commercial building. This item was postponed from our March 23rd and 24th, 2020 council meetings. Does council have any additional questions for Mr. Allen? Seeing no additional questions, on a motion then by Councilmember Beaton and seconded by Councilmember Anderson, this item is moved. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Weld,
Aye.
Worthman,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Beaton,
Aye.
Berge,
Aye.
Christofferson,
Aye.
Emmanuel,
Aye.
Greigert,
Aye.
Klinkhammer,
Aye.
Lohr.
And that item passes unanimously. Agenda item number 16 is an ordinance rezoning a property located at the northeast of Caden Court and Aspen Ridge Drive from TR1A and R1 to R1 and R2P, and to adopt the general development plan with site plan for twin homes. Again, this item was postponed from our March 23rd and 24th, 2020 council meeting. Does council have any questions for Mr. Allen from last night's presentation? Any questions from council? Seeing none, motion by Councilmember Berge and seconded by Councilmember Lohr, this item is moved. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Christofferson.
Thank you, President Weld. I am supportive of this rezoning, but in the conversation last night at the public hearing, I simply want to lift up the conversation that one of the residents talked about changing the covenants of their neighborhood. And I want to encourage a really vigorous conversation between that development and the new developer. I found him easy and responsive to the needs of the community and really wants to have the developments that he is building to be vigorous and places that support family. So I hope that as the community goes through this building process, that their communication would be open and that they would easily address their concerns and develop that relationship. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Christopherson. Is there any other discussion from council? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Worthman,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Beaton,
Aye.
Berge,
Aye.
Christopherson,
Aye.
Emmanuel,
Aye.
Gregert,
Aye.
Klinkhammer,
Aye.
Lohr,
Aye.
Weld.
Aye. And that item passes unanimously. Agenda item number 17 is an ordinance rezoning property located at the west terminus of Lorch Avenue from TR1A to C3P and R3P, and to adopt the general development plan with site plan for multifamily apartment buildings and commercial development. Does council have any additional questions for Mr. Allen from last night's presentation? I'm not seeing any questions. On a motion then by Councilmember Christopherson and seconded by Councilmember Klinkhammer, this item is moved. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Emmanuel.
Thank you, Council President Weld. I want to just speak tonight in appreciation and acknowledge the hard work that the applicant has done, and city staff has been very diligent in looking at this revised proposal and bringing it before council. I will be supporting this evening. I did have, I'm persuaded because the information is different from last time, and I'm also persuaded that we are entering into a brand new economic landscape, and our community has been very supportive of development, and I think it's all the more important that we figure out ways and be open to ways of how we're going to be growing our tax base and how we're going to be providing and supporting stability for our community, which includes safe housing and growing the tax base so that we can best take care of all of our citizens in our community.
Thank you, Council Vice President. Is there any discussion from council? Councilmember Gregert.
Yeah, thank you, President Weld. Yeah, I just appreciated this process. You know, as a plan commissioner, we saw this in October, and you know, it was postponed within the plan commission for more detail, and it's been great working with developers and staff on, you know, continuing to improve this project and learn more about the impact of it. I appreciate the patience of the Plan Commission and City Council moving forward, and the Joint Affordable Housing Task Force for the work to make sure that that was part of the discussion as well. You know, the piece about increased traffic, I think, is something where I believe that, you know, when you have these places on the edge of the city that we're building to a relatively high density, we're preventing the need to build further out from the city and increase commuting and increase traffic even further. So I think this is an appropriate use of the space and obviously matches the comprehensive plan. So I'll be able to support this project as I did last time.
Thank you, Councilmember Gregor. Councilmember Beaton. Councilmember Beaton.
Yes, thank you. I was just working on unmuting. I also wanted to say thanks and express my support for this project. I remember the first time it came before council, I was not supportive for concerns over the affordability of the residential units and also increased traffic, both car traffic and pedestrian traffic. And I just really appreciate that both the developers and also city staff seem to have been really responsive to the interests of the council and our constituents and our community, as well as answering some of those concerns that we had. So really, really nice job to both city staff and the developers, and I'm happy to support.
Thank you, Councilmember Beaton. Councilmember Worthman.
Thank you, Council President Weld. Yeah, I think, there's clearly been some changes, positive changes made to this project. I am going to support it this time. I do think that as this continues to build out and there are additional phases, I feel confident that we're going to be able to make sure that the additional concerns put on infrastructure for our city, are actually taken into account. And that was one of the things that, has been expressed by neighbors and by some of the folks who have expressed skepticism about this project, is just what the overall impact is going to be. And I do have confidence now going forward that we have an awareness for, future year build outs and what that will mean for infrastructure. How do we actually make sure to handle that in a way that's sustainable? So I will be supporting it today, and I hope that folks who have written to us and shared their concerns know that their voices were heard in this process and will continue to be heard moving forward.
Thank you, Councilmember Worthman. Is there any other discussion regarding this agenda item? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Anderson,
Aye.
Beaton,
Aye.
Berge,
Aye.
Christofferson,
Aye.
Emmanuel,
Aye.
Gregert,
Aye.
Klinkhammer, Lohr,
Aye.
Weld,
Aye.
Worthman.
Aye.
And that item passes unanimously. Back to agenda item number 12, which was a resolution approving the third addendum to the final condominium. I'm sorry. Agenda item number 13, a resolution approving a certified survey map with a right-of-way dedication for properties at the western terminus of Lorch Avenue. Does council have any questions? Well, actually, Mr. Allen, are you there? Mr. Allen?
Yes. Do you hear me?
We can, yep.
Okay. I didn't have anything to add. This was shared as one of the slides last night. This is a 4-lot CSM. Again, lot 1 would be, would be the commercially zoned lot, 4.63 acres. Lots 2 and 3 are intended or expected to be presented as senior living or memory care. 2.0 acres for lot 2, 3.35 for lot 3. Those are, again, rezoning as a 3P. The same with lot 4, which is the bulk of the proposed development that was just before you. So again, it's a 4-lot CSM. And then the dedication of right-of-way, as you see here, for Lorch Avenue. What's not shown here is a temporary cul-de-sac at the furthest terminus, the west end of that extension here of Lorch Avenue. So essentially what you see is what's being proposed for the right-of-way in a more permanent nature.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Any questions from council in regards to agenda item number 13? I don't see any questions. Thank you very much. On a motion then by Council Vice President Emmanuel and seconded by Council Member Beaton, this item is moved. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Beaton,
Aye.
Berge,
Aye.
Christofferson,
Aye.
Emmanuel,
Aye.
Gragert,
Aye.
Klinkhammer,
Aye.
Lohr,
Aye.
Weld,
Aye.
Worthman,
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
And agenda item 13 passes unanimously. Moving ahead to agenda item number 18, which is an ordinance in accordance with section 66.0217 Wisconsin statutes annexing to the city of Eau Claire and particularly to the 9th Assessment Ward, 4th Aldermanic District, being part of a parcel of land located at the southwest quarter of the southeast quarter and in the southeast quarter of the southeast quarter of section 14, township 27 north, range 10 west, town of Union, Eau Claire County, as shown on planning drawing number 20-2A. This ordinance requires a 2/3 vote of the elected members of the governing body. Therefore, 8 affirmative votes of the elected council members are required for adoption. Mr. Allen.
Thank you, President Weld and members of council. Again, this afternoon here is about 3.9 acres of vacant land in the town of Union, owned by Travis and Amy Weiss. Again, they submitted a petition going through the process to bring this into the city limits of the city of Eau Claire. Apologies for the lack of clarity on this map in terms of street names, but we're looking at West Vine Street and Rosewood Lane in this area. Thank you. Property is located within the sewer service area. Water and sanitary sewer are available along both streets adjacent to the property. And the request is consistent with the comprehensive plan. Plan Commission has recommended approval for you this afternoon. Have heard from the applicant and the proposed surveyor engineer is that they are looking at some single-family housing to continue some of the similar development in the area. And I'll stand for any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Allen in regards to agenda item number 18? I don't see any. Mr. Allen, thank you.
Thank you.
On a motion then by Councilmember Anderson and seconded by Councilmember Berge, this item is moved. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Berge,
Aye.
Christofferson,
Aye.
Emmanuel,
Aye.
Gragert,
Aye.
Klinkhammer,
Aye.
Lohr,
Aye.
Weld,
Aye.
Worthman,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Beaton.
Aye.
And that item passes unanimously. Agenda item number 19 is a charter ordinance relating to the City Council and the reapportionment of aldermanic districts of the City of Eau Claire. Adoption of charter ordinance requires a 2/3 vote of the elected members of the governing body. Therefore, 8 affirmative votes are required of the 11 elected council members for adoption. Ms. Riepel, do you have anything else to add? No? Does council have any questions for Ms. Riepel? Seeing none, then on a motion by Councilmember Lohr and seconded by Councilmember Christofferson, this item is moved. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Christofferson,
Aye.
Emmanuel,
Aye.
Gragert,
Aye.
Klinkhammer,
Aye.
Lohr,
Aye.
Weld,
Aye.
Worthman,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Beaton, Berge.
Aye.
And that item passes unanimously, which brings a close to our business agenda and ordinances for action and moves us to announcements from City Manager Peters. Again, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Council President Weld and the rest of the council. The only announcement I would have tonight is that a week from tonight is your organizational meeting. So at 4 o'clock, a week from today on Tuesday, the 21st, will be your organizational meeting. Because of the situation we find ourselves in, we're going to have to do that a little bit differently than we have in the past. Council President Weld and myself and the city attorney are working through exactly how that's going to look and how we're going to do it. Obviously, we won't be doing the group picture right away and some of those other nuances. But we will stay tuned and we'll have more updates to you as the week goes on. But please hold next week, Tuesday, 21st at 4 o'clock for your organizational meeting.
Councilmember Worthman.
Thank you, Council President Weld. I just wanted to, coming out of yesterday's election results, just recognize the incredible work of Clerk Riepel and the entire city staff that assisted with Election Day last week. And given all of the difficulties and circumstances, working to make it as safe as possible, as accessible as possible, I just think deserves a huge commendation and certainly just, I think, our support goes a long way in that as well. I also wanted to give a congratulatory note to yourself, Council President, on the win last night, and as well to congratulate our newest incoming City Council member, Mai Zhang, who I think will add an excellent strength to our council as well, moving into the future. So congratulations, and just wanted to add that note and recognition as well.
Thank you, Councilmember Worthman. Greatly appreciated. Are there any other announcements from council members? Councilmember Christopherson.
So there will be a packet for the committee commission assignments coming for us to study. Thank you.
Are there any other questions or announcements from council? One moment, Mr. Lohr, if you want to turn your microphone on. Councilmember Lohr.
I just say that the 21st at 4 o'clock, is that back here or the section of the meeting?
So,
Certainly, City Manager Peters.
thank you. So it will certainly be an electronic format, and the exact details of how we're going to work that out, we will be communicating with you later this week.
Council Vice President Emmanuel.
Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to put a plug in that I know that and totally understand the reason why it needs to look different next week. And if there's any way we can have a few minutes of celebration, a little bit like we did last year, but whether it's we're raising a virtual piece of cake to one another or something very brief as a placeholder for the celebration that we'll get to have to recognize our council president and our incoming member for their victories, and just to kind of have a nice start to their leg of service as we start a new culture of recognizing and celebrating this important day.
Thank you, Council Vice President.
That's certainly noted and as part of the planning process. It's good when we can work a little bit of fun and a little bit of recognition and celebration even in these challenging times. So good point, and I appreciate the reinforcement of that. Thank you.
Council Member Worthman, did you have another announcement? All right. Any other announcements from council? I don't see any. Again, I would just like to express my sincere thanks for the ongoing continual work of our staff and our council and our community to continue to move forward and to continue to work diligently on stopping the spread and staying positive and really making it a priority to see us through this. And so I would just like to express to all of you, to Eau Claire and to my fellow council members to take care and be well. And we will be in touch soon, and appreciate all your work. If there is no objection from council, and I'll give you 5 seconds. Seeing none, we are adjourned. Have a great night.
This program was brought to you by a cooperation between Newsworks and the City of Eau Claire. A transcript of this meeting is available for the hearing impaired. It will be available within 7 days of this telecast. Call 715-839-4912 or TDD 715-839-1689 or write Eau Claire City Clerk, P.O. Box 5148, Eau Claire, Wisconsin 54702-5148. This program is brought to you by Newsworks in cooperation with the City of Eau Claire. This program is simulcast on WRFB-LP 101.9 FM.
The Eau Claire City Council organizational meeting is now in session. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I was beginning to wonder if I had to have my camera on to be part of this.
You don't. And actually, if I could have everyone just stay muted or unmuted, we'll call the roll. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Anderson,
Here.
Beaton,
Here.
Berge,
Here.
Christopherson. Here. Emmanuel. Raegert,
Here.
Klinkhammer,
Here.
Lohr,
Yeah.
Weld,
Here.
Worthman,
Here.
Dawn. Here. Emmanuel.
Catherine? Shows that she's there. She's unmuted. Catherine, can you hear us? Catherine?
Oh, so she's there. She's just very delayed, she says. She's going to try to log in, re-log in.
Okay, so is that Catherine? Oh.
So Catherine said that she's there, but it's very delayed, and I will try to re-log in.
Okay, we'll wait 1 minute and see if.
Hello, this is Catherine. I re-logged on.
Hi, Catherine. All right, welcome. All right, everybody, good afternoon, and I appreciate all of you joining us, both here in Chambers. And
Hello.
are you there, Catherine? Catherine?
Hello, this is Catherine.
Can you hear
Hello,
us?
can you hear me?
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Hello. Yes, I can. I do apologize. We're having some connection issues, but I restarted the meeting and my internet. So I'm saying present. I am here.
Okay.
And hello.
All right, can you hear us?
I can.
Okay.
I haven't had internet issues, so this is a little interesting. But if I lose you again, what I will do is call on the telephone number, and I will excuse myself from the panel if the connection is just too troublesome.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, everybody. All right. Again, welcome to everyone joining us from their homes and in person as we start our City Council organizational meeting, which does include the swearing-in ceremony for both the council president and our newest council member, Mai Zhang. So with that, I think we'll get started with the swearing in first and invite Councilmember Zhang to meet Ms. Riepel up at the front podium there. And if you want to, you can stand right by the TVs there.
I, Mai Zhang, having been elected to the Eau Claire City Council,
I, Mai Zhang, having been elected to the Eau Claire City Council,
do hereby solemnly swear and affirm
do hereby solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support and defend the Constitution
that I will support and defend the Constitution
of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
of the United States and the Constitution of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully discharge the duties
of
said office to the best of my ability.
outside office to the best of my abilities.
All right, so then I will have you sign. And then this is your certificate of election. And then if your husband wants to come up.
You just want to turn your certificate maybe?
Okay, and he can come up as well, and if you want a photo with him. Yes. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
I, Terry Weld, having been elected President of the Eau Claire City Council,
I, Terry Weld, having been elected to the Eau Claire City Council,
do hereby solemnly swear and affirm that I will support and defend
do hereby solemnly swear and affirm that I will
support and defend
the
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of said office
and will faithfully discharge the said duties of said office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability. Thank you.
All right, and then we'll have you and want a picture.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
I think we should have a special election so he could run again next year.
Oh, 3 years in a row is enough. All right.
Out of order, out of order.
So, Terry, this is Dale. If I could speak for a second.
Certainly.
So, the staff has coordinated a little video, since this is particularly very unusual and unprecedented times. Normally at this point, there would be a lot of congratulations and handshaking and so on and so forth. So the staff put together an alternative to that. And so there's a short video clip that, with your permission, we'd like to show.
All right, we're going to ask for your patience just a little bit. We're just getting it loaded. So you can give us 1 minute. We'll have it up and running.
We don't even have clever background music for this. We need, the Jeopardy theme song or something here.
That would be good. Okay, they're going to restart and we'll...
Kathy, the sound does not seem to be working.
Can you see the video, Dale?
I can see it, we just can't hear the sound.
We can't even see it.
I can see it on mine, but it's not on the monitors. There it is. Anything I need to do here, Bob?
Bob and Kathy, do you want to try it again now, or should we go ahead with the meeting and we can just try it again at the end? What's your preference?
Right now, we maybe want to move on with the meeting and I'll...
Okay. All right. All right, then. We have learned to adjust. So we will get started again. Congratulations to Councilmember Zhang. Obviously, really excited to have you here and have a full council again, and look forward to working with you for these next 3 years.
Thank you, President Weld.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right, then. Let's get started with our organizational meeting. And I just have a brief introduction for those of you watching or listening at home. Each year following the spring election, we hold an organizational meeting to swear in new council members, elect a city council vice president, and appoint council members to serve on the 22 various boards, commissions, and committees that work hand in hand with the residents and community partners of Eau Claire. Council members have completed a preference survey indicating which commissions, boards, and committees they wish to serve on, and we'll hear from them individually as to their interest and passion for the boards, commissions, and committees that they have signed up for. Council members, as I introduce each board, commission, or committee, I will ask that if there are any members that wish to remove their name for consideration or would like to nominate themselves or someone else, once the slate of candidates is set, and if there are more candidates than there are positions available, I will ask each member to share with us why they should be appointed. Once each person has spoken, I will explain how many votes each council member will have and then call the vote for each candidate one at a time. A minimum of 6 votes is required to be appointed. Council members participating remotely will vote by raising their hand online. Council members in chambers will physically raise their hand. The city clerk will then tally the votes and will repeat the process for each candidate until we have filled the available seats for that specific board, commission, or committee. If there's an equal number of candidates and available positions, and no additional council members wish to add their name, I will then call a voice vote, and all council members will respond together, either in favor or opposed. Council members, please feel free to ask any questions as we start this process, and we will we may get a little jumbled in the beginning there, but I'm certain that we'll work our way through it. With that, I would like to begin the election for the City Council Vice President. We have one candidate, Councilmember Emmanuel, who has stated her desire to continue serving as Vice President of the Eau Claire City Council. Is there anyone else that wishes to nominate themselves or someone else for this position? Seeing none, Councilmember Emmanuel, do you have anything that you wish to share with us before we call the vote?
Well, thank you very much, Council President Weld, and thank you to our colleagues. I do consider serving as Vice President a very high honor, and I feel like the role that I play is to help lift up the City Council, whether it's through process or encouragement, and helping to create a culture where everybody can bring forth their ideas, and even if we disagree, we can still have a really healthy culture of leading and serving together in our community. So if I'm elected again, I will continue to do that service and appreciate the trust that you have given to me in this last year, and I hope to earn it again for the future year.
Thank you, Councilmember Emmanuel. It's greatly appreciated. Again, if there is no other candidates, we will call the roll, and maybe we'll do a City Attorney Nick.
You certainly are able to, at this point, call for just a voice vote. And
Okay.
if anyone votes,
Sure.
anyone doesn't vote in the affirmative, then we can call division and ascertain the vote. But on this or any others where there's the same number of candidates for the positions available, I would just suggest a voice vote where the chair indicates all those in favor signify by saying aye, and if everyone's in affirmative, we'll know it's a unanimous vote. No motions or seconds are needed for any of these nominations.
All right. Thank you, City Attorney Nick. All right, then, in regards to the Vice President of the Eau Claire City Council, all those in favor of Councilmember Emmanuel signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And that is passed. Congratulations, Councilmember or Council Vice President Emmanuel. And again, thank you for your continued service for the City of Eau Claire and for all that you do. All right, moving on to consideration of appointment for council members to boards and commissions. First of all, are there any questions with the process as far as the appointments from council? Seeing none, the first appointment is the Advisory Committee on Appointments, and there are 2 seats available, and as it stands now, there are 5 candidates. Are there any members that wish to remove their name for consideration? Councilmember Beaton.
Yes, I fully believe that this commission is really benefited when there's some turnover and new voices to reach deeper into our community, to find people to help serve our community on our boards, committees, and commissions. And so with so much enthusiasm and interest in this commission, I'd like to withdraw my name as I've served for the last 2 years.
Thank you, Councilmember Beaton. Is there anyone else that wishes to remove their name? Councilmember Anderson.
Thank you, Council President. Yes, I would like to remove my name as well. Thank you.
All right, then. Is there anyone that wishes to nominate themselves or someone else? Seeing none, then as it stands, we have 2 positions available and 2 candidates. With that, if there is no additional changes, we will call the voice vote. All those in favor of Councilmember Berge to serve on the Advisory Committee on Appointments, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, congratulations, Councilmember Berge. Second candidate is Councilmember Worthman. All those in favor of Councilmember Worthman serving on the Advisory Committee, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, and congratulations, Councilmember Worthman. And thank you both for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to the Board of Review, we have 2 council member regular members of the board, and then 1 alternate. Right now, we have 1 candidate and still an alternate and 1 other regular position available. First of all, I'll ask if Councilmember Christopherson still wishes to keep her name as a candidate.
Yes, I do, thank you.
Is there anyone that wishes to add their name or to nominate someone else for one of either the regular position or the alternate position? Councilmember Anderson.
This is Catherine.
Councilmember Anderson.
Thank you, Council President. Yeah, I'm happy to nominate myself for this one.
Okay. Is there anyone else that wishes to nominate themselves for either a regular position or as an alternate?
This is Catherine Emmanuel, and I'm sorry I can't find the hand to raise my hand,
Oh,
so
okay.
I can be recognized.
Go ahead, Councilmember or Council Vice President Emmanuel.
Thank you so much. I would be glad to serve as an alternate if that's desired.
Okay. So is there anyone else? Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to sign up or add their name to the slate of candidates for a regular position on the Board of Review or an alternate? Seeing none, then we have 2 candidates for the regular positions on the Board of Review and 1 candidate for the alternate on the Board of Review. We will open the vote for Councilmember Christopherson. All those in favor of Councilmember Christopherson being appointed to the Board of Review signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none. Thank you, Councilmember Christopherson. All those in favor of Councilmember Anderson serving on the Board of Review, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Thank you, Councilmember Anderson. All those in favor of Council Vice President Emmanuel serving as an alternate for the Board of Review, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, all 3 of those candidates have been appointed. Again, thank you. Moving on to the Chippewa Valley Innovation Center Board. We do have 2 council members signed up for this board and only one position. Do either council members wish to remove their name for consideration?
Council President, I will remove myself from nomination.
Councilmember Zhang has removed herself for consideration from the slate of candidates. Is there anyone that wishes to add their name or to nominate someone else for the Chippewa Valley Innovation Center Board? Seeing or hearing none, we have one candidate for one position. All those in favor of Councilmember Christopherson being appointed to Chippewa Valley Innovation Center Board signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Congratulations and thank you, Councilmember Christopherson. On the City County Board of Health, we have one candidate and one position available. Councilmember Berge, do you wish to remain as a candidate?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to add their name to the list of candidates or wishes to nominate someone else? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor of Councilmember Berge serving on the City County Board of Health, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations and thank you, Councilmember Berge.
Thank you.
Moving on to the Housing Authority, we have two candidates for one position. Does either candidate wish to remove their names for consideration? Is there anyone that wishes to add their name to the slate of candidates or to nominate someone else? Seeing none, then we have two candidates. We will allow Councilmember Lohr first to share with us why he would like to serve on the Housing Authority. Councilmember Lohr.
Thank you, President Wald. I want to continue serving the Housing Authority because I think that I make a lot of help in that to solve and continue solving the problem of housing problem in this community, to help we educated get better serving on people who are low income in the community. So I think that will be effective if I can still serving in this community for the next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Lohr. Councilmember Zhang.
Thank you, Council President. I would like to be considered for the Housing Authority with my background in running housing grants. That's an expertise that I could bring in as far as moving the city forward in times of pandemic and housing affordabilities. And so I'd like to bring that expertise to the table and share some of my own knowledge on running those programs and providing housing.
Thank you, Councilmember Zhang. Again, I will call Councilmember Lohr's name first, and I will ask that everyone lower their hands if they could, please.
I would just like to make a request, if that's okay.
Certainly. Councilmember Beaton.
It's hard to hear the folks in the room. So if anybody in the room, if you could just make sure your audio is not coming through your microphone, I don't think. And so if you could just speak as loudly as you can, that would be great.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Would you like either of the two candidates to repeat their comments, or?
Truthfully, I didn't hear either. And so if they're willing to repeat that, that would be helpful for me.
Okay, if I could have Councilmember Lohr, and again, speak as loud as you can.
Okay, thank you. I want to continue serving the Housing Authority Committee. I have been serving that last year, and I will be. I have been beneficial to serving in this committee for the. Will continue to serving for the future. I think that I have been helping them, this committee, to set up a guideline to help people in this community that who are low income that can qualify for housing in this community, because we are in this community, we are crisis with property who are low income in that community. So I think that if I can continue serving this committee, will be beneficial for the next year or two going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Lohr. Councilmember Zhang.
Thank you, Council President and everyone. I would like to serve on the Housing Authority and to bring my background and expertise in the housing homeowner services and home renter services, that affordable housing, coming from a background of running for grants that would help with during pandemics like this, of bringing us back up and bringing the city up. So like that consideration.
Thank you, Councilmember Zhang. Is the volume better?
Yes, thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, so I will call Councilmember Lohr's name first. And again, all those that are participating remotely, if you would raise your hand if you wish to vote for Councilmember Lohr. And again, you just have one vote for the two candidates, so one or the other. All those in favor of Councilmember Lohr to be appointed to the Housing Authority, please raise your hand.
Oh, no. I want to vote for Councilmember Lohr. I don't see a hand anywhere on my screen.
Okay, it should be on the bottom left, but we'll count your vote, Councilmember Klinkhammer. So, pardon? Oh, okay. Yeah, and again, council members that are candidates can also vote for themselves. So I see 3 votes. Councilmember Anderson? I'm sorry. Councilmember Anderson, Councilmember Lohr, Council President Weld, and Councilmember Klinkhammer. So we have 7-4. All those in favor of Councilmember Zhang being appointed to the Housing Authority, please raise your hands. I see 5, 6, 7. Is that correct? 7 in favor, and that is the majority. And Councilmember Zhang, congratulations, and thank you for serving. Moving on to Housing Opportunities Commission. We have 1 position available, and right now no candidates that have at least made it known on the preference survey. Are there council members that wish to?
Councilmember, yeah, Council President Weld, I'd like to add my name for consideration.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Worthman.
And Council President,
Zhang.
I would like to add my name to that also.
Councilmember Zhang has also added her name to the list of candidates. Is there anyone else that wishes to add their name to the list of candidates or to nominate someone else? Councilmember Worthman, you have your hand up. Did you have an additional question or?
No, my apologies.
All right, no problem. Okay then, we have 2 candidates for 1 position. Councilmember Worthman, I will ask if you would like to share a few words as to why you would like to serve on the Housing Opportunities Commission.
Absolutely, and I'd appreciate consideration for this. It's something that I have been passionate about, both in terms of as a council member, and also being one of the authors of the ordinance to help create this, along with Councilmember Beaton. I think that hopefully I'm able to bring some of my expertise in the area of affordable housing and looking at, how we can be stronger when it comes to projects and helping to think about some of the underlying policies for our community that need to be advanced. I've been integral in helping as well with some of the Chippewa Valley Task Force and some of the policies that we've championed forward over the last couple of years. So I'm hopeful that you would consider voting for me, but at the same time, I also know that Councilmember Young is also brings a lot of expertise to the table as well. So if it doesn't go that way, I'm okay with that as well.
Thank you, Councilmember Worthman. Councilmember Zhang.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, Council Worthman. And I would hope to have your consideration for the voting me on to this commission. I'm very excited, and I want to say thank you so much to Councilmember Beaton and Councilmember Worthman for working really hard on this commission, bringing it to life. Affordable housing is it's a passion of mine, especially with the life's work of making sure everybody has equitable access to resources to affordable housing, not just within home ownership, renters, or for homelessness prevention. And I'd love to be able to bring my expertise in the programming side and the service side and the counseling side to the table, to working with the community members of engaging that. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Zhang. So I will call Councilmember Andrew Worthman first, and all those in favor of Councilmember Worthman serving on the Housing Opportunities Commission, please raise your hand.
I can't find my hand, so put me down for Andrew Worthman.
Okay. So I show 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 council members in favor of Councilmember Worthman. All those in favor of Councilmember Zhang serving or being appointed to the Housing Opportunities Commission, please raise your hand. I show 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Councilmember Zhang has 6 votes, and that is the majority to be appointed to the Housing Opportunities Commission. Okay, congratulations, Councilmember Zhang. Moving on to the Joint Commission on Shared Services Initiatives. We have 2 positions available and 2 candidates on the slate. Are there either Councilmember Anderson or Councilmember Worthman, do either of you wish to remove your names for consideration?
No.
All right. Is there anyone that wishes to add their name? Councilmember Gregor, did you have a question or? No. Thank you. Is there anyone that wishes to add their name to the slate of candidates or wishes to nominate someone else? Seeing none, then we have 2 candidates for 2 positions, and I will call a voice vote. All those in favor of Councilmember Anderson being appointed to the Joint Commission on Shared Services Initiatives signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you, Councilmember Anderson. All those in favor of Councilmember Worthman being appointed to the Joint Commission on Shared Services Initiatives, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
And that is unanimous. Thank you, Councilmember Worthman. Moving on to landmarks commissions, we have 1 candidate and 1 position. Does Councilmember Klinkhammer wish to remove his name for consideration?
No, I want to keep my name in.
All right. Does anyone else wish to add their name or nominate someone else? Seeing or hearing none, we have one candidate and one position. All those in favor of Councilmember Klinkhammer being appointed to the Landmarks Commission, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Congratulations and thank you, Councilmember Klinkhammer. Moving on to the Library Board. We have two candidates and we have one position. Does either candidate wish to remove their name from the slate of candidates? Councilmember Anderson.
Thank you, Council President. It's been such a pleasure and an honor to serve in the past year on the Library Board. It's a wonderful board, and the library is at such an exciting phase of its growth. But at the same time, I know that Councilmember Lohr has some wonderful gifts he could contribute to this board, so I'm going to withdraw my name.
Thank you, Councilmember Anderson. Is there anyone that would like to add their name or nominate someone else for this commission or for this board? Councilmember Anderson, if I could get you to lower your hand. Thank you. Seeing none, then we have one candidate and one position for the Library Board. All those in favor of Councilmember Lohr being appointed to the Library Board, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Seeing or hearing none, congratulations and thank you, Councilmember Lohr. Moving on to the Plan Commission. There are two positions available on this commission, and there are two candidates. Do either candidate wish to remove their name for consideration? Seeing none, is there anyone that wishes to add their name or wishes to nominate someone else? Seeing or hearing none, we have two candidates for two positions, and I will call the voice vote. All those in favor of Councilmember Christopherson being appointed to the Plan Commission signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Seeing or hearing none, thank you, Councilmember Christopherson. All those in favor of Councilmember Gregor being appointed to the Plan Commission, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Congratulations and thank you, Councilmember Gregor. Moving on to the Putnam Park Commission. There are two positions available and there are two candidates. Do either candidates wish to remove their name from consideration? Seeing or hearing none, is there anyone that wishes to add their name or wishes to nominate someone else? Seeing or hearing none, we have two candidates and two positions, and I will call the voice vote. All those in favor of Councilmember Gregor being appointed to the Putnam Park Commission, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Again, congratulations, Councilmember Gregor. All those in favor of Councilmember Worthman being appointed to the Putnam Park Commission, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? And again, congratulations and thank you, Councilmember Worthman. The Redevelopment Authority is one position and requires 9 votes to affirm the appointment. We have one candidate. Councilmember or Council Vice President Emmanuel, do you wish to remove your name for consideration?
I would still like to be considered. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone that wishes to add their name or nominate someone else? Seeing or hearing none, we have one candidate and one position. All those in favor of Council Vice President Emmanuel being appointed to the Redevelopment Authority, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Congratulations and thank you, Council Vice President. The Revolving Loan Fund Committee is one position, and at the moment, we do not have anyone that has listed themselves as interested in serving. Is there anyone that would like to add their name?
Council President, I would like to be considered for that and lend my experience in lending background.
Councilmember Zhang has added her name to the list of candidates for the position on the Revolving Loan Committee. Is there anyone else that wishes to add their name? Councilmember Christopherson.
I'd like to include my name as well.
Thank you, Councilmember Christopherson. Is there anyone else that wishes to add their name to the list of candidates or nominate someone else? Seeing or hearing none, Councilmember Christopherson, again, we'll continue to go in alphabetical order. Councilmember Christopherson, if you wish to share with us why you would like to be appointed.
Thank you, Council President Weld. My experience on the Chippewa Valley Innovation Center has awakened me to the use of the revolving loan fund to incentivize, support starting small businesses. All of the individuals at the CVIC have been recipients of those. I've also have an interest in just broadening the way we look at industry, factory types of work and how secure that employment is versus some of the other employment we have in Eau Claire. So this new experience and my experience on the CVIC, I would really like to participate in the revolving loan fund.
Thank you, Councilmember Christopherson. Councilmember Zhang.
Thank you, Council President, and thank you, Council Christopherson. I would like to be considered for the revolving loan funds. My background is in economic development and specifically managing microloan funds. And so I've done underwriting for that too, and understand that Eau Claire has been doing an amazing job with the revolving loan funds. And with all the small businesses that you've worked with over at Chippewa Valley Innovation Center, I'd like to be able to sit down and strategically work with the economic development group on making sure equitable funds like capitals like this gets distributed to all of the minorities and businesses, small businesses in town. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Zhang. All right, so we have two candidates, two positions. I will call the vote for Councilmember Christopherson first. All those in favor of Councilmember Christopherson being appointed to the Revolving Loan Fund Committee, please raise your hand. Seven. There are 7 votes in favor of Councilmember Christopherson being appointed. All those in favor of Councilmember Zhang, please raise your hand. And I see 4 votes in favor of Councilmember Zhang. Congratulations and thank you, Councilmember Christopherson. Moving on to Transit Commission, we have 1 position and we have 1 candidate. Is there, Councilmember Gregor, do you wish to remove your name for consideration? Councilmember Gregor, are you there?
No, I'd like to stay on.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Is there anyone that would like to add their name or nominate someone else to be appointed to the Transit Commission? And I see 3 hands up. Do any of the 3 have questions, or if you could lower your hands? Councilmember Worthman, did you have a question? No. Councilmember Klinkhammer, did you have a question, or did you like to nominate someone?
No, I thought I took my hand down.
No, it's up now, but there you go. Perfect. Thank you. Well, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and ask you to lower your hand again, Councilmember Klinkhammer.
What the hell's going on?
That's all right. We have one position and one candidate for the Transit Commission. I will call the voice vote. All those in favor of Councilmember Gregert being appointed to the Transit Commission, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? And again, congratulations and thank you, Councilmember Gregert. The Utility Appeals Board is one position and there is one candidate. Councilmember Anderson, do you wish to remove your name for consideration?
I'd like to continue to be considered. Thank you.
Is there anyone that wishes to add their name or nominate someone else? Seeing none, we have one position and one candidate. So all those in favor of Councilmember Anderson being appointed to serve on the Utility Appeals Board, please signify by saying aye.
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 I'm sorry.
Kate.
We're on the, I'm sorry, did I say the wrong committee?
No, I think probably you're right. Okay.
Okay, so yeah, again, the Utilities Appeals Board, and we had a unanimous vote. Everyone was in favor. Again, thank you and congratulations, Councilmember Anderson. As for the Visit Eau Claire Board, we have two positions and two candidates. Either candidates wish to remove their name for consideration. Seeing or hearing none, is there anyone that wishes to add their name or nominate someone else for the Visit Eau Claire Board?
Who are the two that have volunteered for it?
We have Councilmember Beaton and Councilmember Berge.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wishes?
I'd like to add my name to that.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Klinkhammer. All right, so we have, is there anyone else that wishes to add their name to the list of candidates? All right, so we have three candidates for two positions. And again, we will go in alphabetical order and ask Councilmember Beaton if she would like to share why she would like to be appointed to this board. Councilmember Beaton?
Yeah, thank you. This is a board that I'm currently serving on, though I was just appointed only a couple of months ago after Councilmember Benjamin had resigned. I don't believe I've actually even had the opportunity to sit in on a meeting. There's been some there's been some holds on meetings at the Visit Eau Claire board recently, and so I would really like the opportunity to serve and to meet with the board and to learn more about the Visit Eau Claire board. I did serve for several years on the Visit Eau Claire Grants Committee and got a really, a good idea of sort of how Visit Eau Claire serves our community. And overall, I think that I bring a perspective of sort of a young professional who is excited to build up our community's tourism to attract a vibrant sort of tourism base. So I would appreciate the opportunity to continue to serve, but understand if that's not the case. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Beaton. Councilmember Berge.
Thank you, Council President. So I served last year on the Visit Eau Claire board, and it was, I think, a year of transition for, I guess, at the end of the year and with the exit of, retired of the director, and we've we have a temporary director of with Benny, and just so we're kind of still rebuilding that, and I guess I would like the opportunity to continue that work. They're doing a lot of good work too with the convention, or not the convention center. Well, we've been talking about that too, but the Sound and Take Center. So there's a lot of background that I'm familiar with. And then once this whole public health crisis hopefully simmers down, we can get back to work too, and hopefully help out our local tourism scene as well. So I just look forward into continuing my work with the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Berge. Councilmember Klinkhammer.
I wasn't intending to seek a different chair here, but I think given the turnover in the director's position and some of the fiscal problems and challenges that the Visitors Bureau or the Visit Eau Claire is having at this time, I think there are some unique challenges coming forward and presently, and I think that my experience would be of some value. So I'd like to have that chair on that board.
Thank you, Councilmember Klinkhammer. Again, we have 3 candidates and 2 positions. I will call a show of hands for each candidate. Again, you have 2 votes. And we'll begin with Councilmember Beaton. All those in favor of Councilmember Beaton being appointed to the Visit Eau Claire Board, please raise your hand. Looks like we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. We have 9 votes in favor for Councilmember Beaton. All those in favor for Councilmember Berge being appointed to the Visit Eau Claire Board, please raise your hand. And I show 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 votes in favor for Councilmember Berge. And then all those in favor of Councilmember Klinkhammer being appointed to the Visit Eau Claire Board, please raise your hand. And I show 4 votes for Councilmember Klinkhammer. So based on the number of votes, Councilmember Beaton and Councilmember Berge are both appointed to the Visit Eau Claire Board. Congratulations and thank you. Moving on to Visit Eau Claire Tourism and Cultural Arts Grant Program Committee. There are 2 positions and 2 candidates. Do either of the 2 candidates, Councilmember Anderson or Councilmember Laura, wish to remove their name for consideration? Hearing none. Does anyone wish to add their name or nominate someone else for consideration? Councilmember Klinkhammer? Thank you. Seeing none, we have 2 candidates for 2 positions, and I will call a voice vote. All those in favor of Councilmember Anderson being appointed to the Visit Eau Claire Tourism and Cultural Arts Grant Program Committee, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Councilmember Anderson, thank you and congratulations. All those in favor of Councilmember Lohr being appointed to serve on the Visit Eau Claire Tourism and Cultural Arts Grant Program Committee, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Again, congratulations and thank you, Councilmember Lohr. Our last board, commission, and committee is Waterways and Parks. And there are 2 positions available, and right now we have 5 candidates that would like to be considered. Is any of the candidates, Councilmember Beaton, Christofferson, Lohr, Worthman, or Zhang, wish to remove their name for consideration?
Council President.
Councilmember Zhang.
I would like to remove, as fun as it sounds and important, I'd like to learn a little bit more about that first.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Zhang, who has removed her name. Councilmember Christofferson.
Thank you, Council President Weld. I would also like to remove my name.
Councilmember Christofferson has also removed her name. Is there anyone else that wishes to remove their name?
Council President Weld, I'd like to remove my name. This is Councilmember Worthman.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Worthman. Is there anyone that wishes to add their name or nominate someone else? I'm not seeing any. So we have 2 candidates and 2 positions. So I will call a voice vote. All those in favor of Councilmember Beaton being appointed to the Waterways and Parks Commission, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Congratulations and thank you, Councilmember Beaton. All those in favor of Councilmember Lohr being appointed to the Waterways and Parks Commission, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Congratulations, Councilmember Lohr, and thank you. That is all of our boards, commissions, and committees. Thank you, everyone, for your help with that. Again, congratulations to all of those that were, I'm sorry, Councilmember Christofferson.
Thank you, Council President Weld. I just wanted to share a piece of information for my colleagues on the council. I've always wondered how it is that we share the information and the experience that we have on these boards and commissions. And I know that, of course, it's appropriate to watch all of them as they're wonderfully televised and recorded. But I would also like to encourage my peers that in the announcement period after our meetings is a very appropriate time to share something that you see as being significant to the community or significant to the growth or impact of that commission or committee. And I would like to encourage us to share with one another what those experiences have been.
Thank you, Councilmember Christofferson. Again, congratulations to everyone, and thank you for signing up and again, understanding that this is a commitment for our council members above and beyond just their time as, serving as council members, to serve on these various boards, commissions, and committees, and certainly, extra time and study and preparation. So again, thank you. It is greatly appreciated. Moving on, we're going to ask our city clerk to help us determine our seating arrangement here in council chambers for the next year. And we have 11 seats, and just so you know, seats 7 and 8 are where the vice president and president will sit, and so those numbers will not be in the hat. But we will begin with drawing for seat number 1, and we will announce the name for seat number 1.
Seat number 1 will be Councilmember Anderson.
Councilmember Anderson will be at seat number 1. Seat number 2.
Seat number 2 will be Councilmember Klinkhammer.
Seat number 2 is Councilmember Klinkhammer. Seat number 3.
Seat number 3 will be Councilmember Beaton.
Seat number 3 is Councilmember Beaton. Seat number 4.
Seat 4 will be Councilmember Zhang.
Seat 4 is Councilmember Zhang. Seat number 5.
Seat number 5 will be Councilmember Lohr.
Councilmember Lohr. And seat number 5. Seat number 6.
Seat number 6 will be Councilmember Christopherson.
Seat number 6 is Councilmember Christopherson. Seat number 9.
Seat number 9 will be Councilmember Berge.
Councilmember Berge. And seat number 9. Seat number 10.
Seat number 10 will be Councilmember Worthman.
Councilmember Worthman in seat number 10. And seat number 11.
Seat number 11 will be Councilmember Gregert.
Councilmember Gregert in seat number 11. Thank you. Again, if there are no other questions in regards to the seating arrangement, I look forward very much to the day that we all are here again and seated in our seats and all here together. So hopefully that day comes soon. Again, thank you for that. All right, we do have announcements on our agenda, and if there are any announcements, Councilmember or City Manager Peters, I think we're ready. If you want to introduce again our presentation.
Yep, thank you, Council President Weld. And I have no announcements other than we're going to try again. The staff put together, again, because we were unable to all be physically together, and congratulate one another on the election and in your commitment to boards and commissions. So there's a brief video welcoming the 2 new council members to their civic duty with the appreciation and thanks of fellow council members and staff. And we'll take a run at that video right now. Maybe?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Councilmember Zhang, hey, congratulations. Looking forward to serving these next 3 years with you. Try and take some time to enjoy this moment and be proud of all that you've accomplished. I'm looking forward to seeing you in council chambers soon. Take care.
Congratulations, Councilmember Zhang, and welcome to the Eau Claire City Council 2020. I'm excited to work with you. Also, congratulations to Council President Weld. Also excited to keep working with you. And I'm sure you're excited not to be on the ballot next April, first time in a few years. So I can't wait. We have a great council, and let's get to work.
Hello, this is Councilmember Laura. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome my Sean to join me and other council members to serve this committee for the next 2 years. At the same time, congratulations to President Wald for your elected to continue serving this community and guide all the council members for the next 3 years. Congratulations again for both of you. Thank you.
I'm really happy to have you join us on the City Council. Congratulations. And Terry, I'm really excited to work with you for 3 more years coming up here. We have a lot of work to do, so let's get started.
Terry and Mai, congratulations on your election, and thank you for your service. These are tough times, and your leadership is appreciated. I'd give you a handshake, but the best I can do is this virtual elbow pump. Again, congratulations, and I look forward to working with you.
Hi, I'm Steve Nick, Eau Claire's City Attorney. Congratulations, Terry and Mai, on your election. Look forward to working with you and the entire council this coming year. Best wishes.
I'm Vicki Sultan, the Human Resources Director for the City of Eau Claire. I wanted to congratulate you, Terry and Mai, on your election victories and say that on behalf of the more than 500 dedicated and hardworking employees of the City of Eau Claire, we look forward to working with you to make Eau Claire a great place to live and work.
Hello, I'm Jeff Pippinger, the Community Services Director for the City of Eau Claire, and I just wanted to welcome Mai to the City Council and congratulations, Terry, on your election to a 3-year term as President of the City Council. I look forward to working with both of you on important issues that will affect the City of Eau Claire in the future.
Congratulations, Mai, on election to the City Council. My name is Dave Solberg. I am the City Engineer and Engineering Director. I look forward to working with you on all of our infrastructure projects in the future. Again, congratulations and have a nice day.
Welcome, Mai. I'm pleased that you're joining the City Council. I'm Lisa Giese, the Health Department Director. I look forward to working with you as you look at policy for the city in improving and sustaining the strengths that we have in the city to have a healthy community. Welcome and congratulations.
Congratulations, Mai and Terry. Scott Allen, Community Development Director. Looking forward to working with you and the rest of the council on a number of plans and projects. And congratulations.
Congratulations, Terry and Mai, on your election to council. I look forward to continue working with both of you.
Hi, I am Chris Bell, Fire Chief for the City of Eau Claire. I'd like to welcome Mai Zhang for election to the City Council and Terry Well for his re-election as Council President. I look forward to working with both of you in the days ahead.
Hello, I'm Matt Rokas, Eau Claire's Chief of Police. I'd like to offer my congratulations and welcome to you, Mai, for your election to City Council. I'd also like to congratulate you, Terry, for your election as Council President. I greatly look forward to working with both of you.
Hello, I'm Pamela Westby, Library Director for the City of Eau Claire. Welcome, Mai, to the City Council, and congratulations, Terry, on another 3-year term as President. I look forward to working with you both.
If there's any other announcements from council, please raise your hand. Councilmember Lohr.
I look at the video, but I don't see Mai in there, so I don't know why it's not shown on this video.
We'll get it at. Okay? I'm sure it's not too late.
It's okay. I can just go ahead and say yes. Welcome, Mai, to be join us in the City Council, and so glad to have you here. Also, glad to have you elected President. Wow, we will love to work with you for the next 2 years. So glad to have you here.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Councilmember Jean.
Thank you, Council President. I want to take a moment to say thank you to everyone, all the council members, all the staff. This is such an amazing welcome gift. And I look forward to serving you all and look forward to working with you guys to making a better Eau Claire. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Jean. Are there any other announcements before we adjourn? Again, congratulations to all of you, and again, a big thanks for, again, continuing to be a part of our boards and commissions and committees, and again, serving the great city of Eau Claire. If there is no objection from council, we are adjourned.
This program was brought to you by a cooperation between Newsworks and the City of Eau Claire. A transcript of this meeting is available for the hearing impaired. It will be available within 7 days of this telecast. Call 715-839-4912 or TDD 715-839-1689 or write Eau Claire City Clerk, P.O. Box 5148, Eau Claire, Wisconsin 54702-5148.
The following program was produced by the United States Courts.
Everything that you go through, that you survive, there are nuggets of strength, and that's the material that you go forward with. I grew up in Petersburg, Virginia. I was adopted, and I found out when I was 13 years old. I was the first in my immediate family to graduate from high school, let alone to go to college, then law school. But my parents had a thirst and love for education, and they gave me an encyclopedia, and I just traveled around the world with that, and they said that this is your vehicle. I think the times were challenging. I started school in 1959, but about 60 or so miles west of me, the black kids in that county had no school to go to. So I came up in that circumstance where I realized education was precious. I knew I had to make the very most of it because other people didn't have it. And that always was my driving force to work hard. In high school, I went to a segregated school until the 11th grade. My 12th grade year was the first year where Brown was fully implemented in my town. I was in the first integrated class at Petersburg High School, and many of my classmates who I had for that 1 year are still friends today, and we still relish a wonderful senior year where we came together and we found the common ground that had been denied us for so long. After I graduated from the University of Michigan Law School, believe it or not, I was a tax lawyer. I went to a big firm in Detroit and practiced tax law. Then I came to Virginia, my home state, to work for a big firm called Hunton & Williams. And I worked there as a litigator. And then 2 years later, my college professor, L. Douglas Wilder, we became law partners. So I did that for 20 years, and he became governor, and I was the managing partner of the firm, and the firm grew. And then an opportunity came for me to be on the court, and I had never thought about being a judge. President Clinton nominated me, but I went 6 months without a hearing from the Senate. And then Christmas night, the White House called, and the president was going to recess appoint me. And 2 days later, I was in the Oval Office giving remarks, and the president was listening to me. I was very fortunate that President Bush renominated me, and I had a hearing, and I got the lifetime position. I remember when a little boy came up to me and he said, "You were at the White House and you saw President Clinton." I knew right then that that little boy, seeing someone who looked like him, came from Petersburg, his neighborhood, was all worth it, because then it's not about me. We have to look in terms of, was this a substantial constitutional violation? But victory is what happens to the next person, that little boy who saw himself and that he could achieve. And that was the aha moment for me, like, wow, that makes it all worthwhile.
The following program was produced by the United States Courts.
It's an unusual country where every door is open, and all you have to do is get an education and work hard.
We're here today to hear from counsel on the pending motion for summary judgment.
I grew up in a home where the principle was that you didn't accept your fate. In World War II, Germany invaded the eastern part of Poland and rounded up all the Jews. Rumors began that the Germans were going to round up everyone there and shoot them. One evening, my mother heard that the roundup would be the next day. She told her family that they should leave. Many did. many didn't. I lost almost all of my aunts and uncles, both sets of grandparents, and all members of my family who were still there. While still in Poland, my father died. My mother and my sister decided they would have to go west while my mother was still pregnant with me. I was born in late 1945. We were able to get distant relatives to sponsor us. We ended up in Bangor, Maine. None of us knew a word of English. We had nothing. We literally came with nothing from the refugee camp and started our new life. Education really was the key to the doors. My mother, she was amazed that in this country you could go as far as you wanted, free for the most part. Public schools took you right through high school, and then I went on to State University and ended up with a scholarship to Harvard Law School. After I finished law school, I came back to Bangor, Maine and practiced law in a small law firm for 30 years. And then I got a call from one of our congressmen who I really didn't know and asked if I was interested in becoming a federal judge.
All rise. The District Court of the United States is now in session. Your Honorable George Z. Singal presiding.
In Portland, where I preside now, we have a large immigrant community. And often I can look at the new citizens and I can tell them, just like you, I was a refugee here too. And I hold up my citizenship paper and I show them that just as they that day would receive their citizenship certificate, I also did. And all of a sudden, I think they're really understanding what kind of opportunity they have in the land where they are.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome again to our COVID-19 update for Eau Claire County. It's our opportunity to share with you what is happening in our community, where we're going with this pandemic locally, and to remind people of some resources that are available. Today is Monday, the 27th of April. So a quick update on the status for Eau Claire County as well as the state. In the state of Wisconsin, there are now 61,311 negative tests for COVID-19, 6,081 positive confirmed cases by testing of COVID-19, an increase of 170 positives from Sunday. 1,415 hospitalizations, about 23% of cases hospitalized at any point. And deaths, we're at 281 deaths in the state of Wisconsin, an increase of 9 since Sunday. Again, our thoughts go out to those families that are dealing with the situation of losing a loved one to this disease. A more comprehensive picture of the state data is available on the DHS website. That's something that they continue to work on and have available to really share with all of us at a local level what is going on with state numbers of tests being done, the results of those tests, and some of the capacity that we need to have in place in order to respond to this disease. The Badger Bounce Back program, as we all know, is relying on using good data in order to move to the next phase, and having that data available at a state level is critical. Much of that is being loaded on the state website as they work through that. Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation is also working through those criteria of moving us to reopen progressively and strategically, and that work continues as well. I'll share a bit more about the newest order that was released from the governor's office today, this afternoon, and a bit more about what that means for our local community in a minute. Again, our goal at the state level and the goal that the governor's office has is to continue to flatten the curve. We know that none of us have immunity to this disease. When exposed, we all have a likelihood of getting it. We don't want the extremely ill people that result from this disease to all happen at the same time. So again, nobody's immune. Our goal with moving slowly and strategically is to keep that curve as flat as possible. In Eau Claire, we now have 25 confirmed cases of COVID-19, an increase of 1 since Friday, so when we last spoke with you. Our testing numbers are at 1,853 people tested for COVID-19. Those are Eau Claire County residents. Of those, 1,776 are negative tests. The remainder are pending. We now will share with you that 20 of those 25 confirmed cases have completed their isolation period. That's a period of time that they're required to stay home so that they don't spread disease, and when they are considered infectious. We still have a range of people with disease as far as age and gender go, and that really mirrors what we are seeing at the state level. Locally, we continue to work on our capabilities to open as well. So just like the state is trying to increase the testing numbers, the state is working on having a lowering of the positives happening per test. We are doing that same work here. We're working with our local providers on increasing the number of tests being given. We have a request in with a regional partnership for a potential National Guard site in the region to also do some testing for a short amount of time. And we are talking and walking through the barriers that our testing sites currently have to get increased testing done, whether that's supplies or equipment or an understanding of the procedures they need in order to get those symptomatic people tested. We also are working on the case investigation and contact tracing efforts that are being reported at a state level. As we know, to contain this disease, once we start reopening, we have to know who's got the disease. That's this testing part. And we need to make sure that those that are positive are interviewed carefully, they stay home, and all of their contacts stay home. So we are working, like the state is, on increasing the number of people that can do that work. And we have trained a number of people internal to our governmental system and are working now to bring others in from other places like students and other resources. That partnership will be critical if and when we get big spikes of disease. Today, the governor's office did announce a new order. That order is the interim order to turn the dial is the title of it. It's order number 34. That order did open up some non-essential business activities that were not identified in last week's order. That change is to allow, in those places where it is safer to do this, the ability to have additional activities happen in our community. That order goes into effect at 8 o'clock on Wednesday morning. We will be working to answer questions of all those entities that are allowed to do more activities in the interim, but the basic criteria remain the same. Physical distance, cleaning and hand washing, and making sure that people are staying home when they're sick and not being out in the community when they are. Some of those changes include now an ability to drop off supplies or resources at a business so that they can be repaired, they can be taken care of, they can be cleaned. So that does include places like dog groomers, that includes someone that wants a piece of equipment fixed, those kinds of things. That drop off now can happen of goods and animals. Also, starting Wednesday, recreational rental of recreation equipment. So those kinds of pieces of equipment that people may want to use to be out and about in the community also can happen. So recreational rental is allowable with some limits on doing that with a limited number of staff and in safe ways. And car washes are also able to be open again, those automatic or self-service car washes. I think all fairly self-explanatory that those are new opportunities for businesses to open where the contact person to person is very minimal. We also want to share with people that there have been many questions about asthma and allergies and COVID symptoms being asked. This is an allergy season time. People may notice I have my glasses with me instead of my contacts in because I have seasonal allergies and it impacts my ability to wear my contacts this time of year. That's true for many of us in the community. Some of those symptoms for people with allergy or asthma issues can seem very similar to COVID-19 symptoms. Again, if someone is experiencing symptoms that are different than usual, we ask you to contact your healthcare provider and talk through what you are experiencing, work through whether or not a test for COVID-19 does make sense. If these are normal symptoms that you experience all the time, we don't want people to worry. If you're used to having allergy symptoms this time of year, we recommend that you take the usual course of action that you would at any other time. If that's, for me, taking my allergy medication this time of year, that's what you should do. If you do have allergies, obviously we want you to have all the same precautions that we do for anybody else. We want people to keep their distance, we need people to wash their hands, and we need people to follow the safer at home order. We also recently, this week, heard, actually over the weekend and today, the CDC came out with some additional symptoms that they are having available on their website. The importance of having those symptoms known by everybody is we are using those symptoms as part of our recommendation for people screening themselves out of working. So important that everybody knows what those symptoms are and are carefully following them. This is a very asymptomatic disease for some people. So even those low-level symptoms that people have, we want everyone to pay attention to them. Again, if you have these symptoms, stay home, do a check-in with your healthcare provider, and really consider how you can keep the people you love safe and those people that you work with safe. Previously, the CDC only listed fever, cough, shortness of breath as symptoms of COVID-19. Recently added to that list are chills, repeated shaking with chills, muscle pain, headache, sore throat, and new loss of taste or smell. These are symptoms that we've been talking about a lot in this community, but are now widely adopted by CDC as symptoms that are ones to pay attention to. So again, our public health system and our healthcare system have been looking at these, but we want the public to also know that you should be paying attention. So in closing, I will share that our website continues. That's coronavirus.echealthdepartment.org. Our call center continues to take calls. That's 715-831-7425. And I'm available for questions. Yes?
Fishing was one of the activities that was added to something that was going to be allowable. Can you maybe comment on, are people going to be allowed to travel to their favorite lake or river outside of the county if they want to go out and do some fishing, if it's just on their own? Are they expected to stay local? I guess, can you comment on that?
So the question is related to fishing and what's allowable with fishing. The order and the governor's office have spoken to that question previously, but really the allowable activity is to do that kind of recreating. So fishing is allowable, and traveling to a place to fish is allowable. Our strong recommendation, again, is to not do that with people outside of your household, and to be cautious about traveling outside of the area. Again, staying close to home, staying with your household group, and doing things in a way that assures that physical distance is the best way to approach something like going fishing. Yes?
About 10 days ago, I asked you about motivation, and you talked about how, there's a bit more of a challenge for motivation And that was then. Even now, with 3 cases in 3 weeks in Eau Claire County, the sheriff saying he's going to use more of a common sense enforcement. The weather being as nice as it is, and just how long it's been, those would all be factors, it would seem to me, that would work against the motivation. So for the person who says, I'm just not motivated to do this as strongly as I've tried, what do you say to them?
So the question is for the person that says, after the length of time we've been under Safer at Home, the challenges with doing that, what do I say to the person that's really not motivated, in your words, to maybe follow the order as strictly as they have been? The bottom line is that the best way to control spread of disease is to keep our circle small. My encouragement to everybody is to keep that picture in their head that the more people that they expose and the more people that they are exposed to, the more likely we will have spread of disease. This disease, again, none of us are immune to. As disease spreads, which we know it will, we've seen outbreaks across the state, and certainly we've seen this in other states, the likelihood that people that are at risk for with complicating factors, and even those without, a percentage of us will get very sick and a percentage of us will die. That is the facts of this disease. That happening in a way that is very quick and where our healthcare system can't respond is what we're trying to prevent. The more people that are very sick at the same time, the more difficult it is for healthcare to really do their job to help us survive a very significant illness. So again, the smaller we can keep our circle, the less spread that we can do, especially to vulnerable populations, the better. It is hard. I hear regularly from family and friends, as well as across the community, that this is difficult, but making sure that overall we've done testing to see where our prevalence of disease is, how much disease is out there in Eau Claire, that testing happening in a strong way, which we know right now it frankly is not, and then making sure we can contain disease by getting out and following up with those positives is what we need to do. We're hopefully moving in the right direction, but there's a number of steps that we need to take to get there. I think we will start seeing incrementally, likely some more disease happening with opening. If we do it slowly, like we're doing now, I am confident we can stay on top of that. The motivation to all of us is to not get impatient and want that switch flipped. We need to do it slowly and strategically in those places where the risk is lowest. Yes?
Could you talk a little bit more about, you mentioned calling the National Guard to try and really ramp up the testing, I think. Can you talk a little bit more about that specifically and that effort in general?
Sure. So the questions are around testing, both the potential of involving the National Guard as well as testing in general. The numbers of tests that we need to get done in the state rely on 2 different things. One, how much lab capacity do we have? And the state has set a target for 85,000 tests a week and 12,000 tests a day being done statewide. We're working on that locally as well. In fact, the state is not anywhere near having actually 12,000 tests being done a day. They've got capacity to do it, but there are other barriers to getting that done. So pushing hard on actually getting testing happening is critically important. We are seeing over time, and I actually just received a report before I walked up here, that our positivity rate, the positive COVID-19 tests from the overall tests being done, is on a slight decline in Eau Claire. Again, at the state level, it's been about 10% for a long time with some peaks up and down, but pretty flat. But the other thing we're looking at is the number of tests that are happening, and the daily number of tests in Eau Claire County, and frankly, the daily number of tests across the state is not increasing. In Eau Claire, the daily number is actually going down more recently, and the daily number at the state level is only going up with some spikes because of outbreaks. So there's a real issue there we need to approach. In the region, we've looked at the daily and weekly number of tests being done across this northwest corner of the state. And Eau Claire and the Chippewa Valley does actually not look too bad in comparison, even though we don't have a lot of tests being done. We're doing a lot better than some of our neighbors to the north and west of us. So collectively, that group has made a request to the National Guard and is in process of working through how that might work for the National Guard to come for just a short amount of time to do potentially some drive-through testing possibilities. All of that is in the infancy of development, but we see it as a potential asset to add for a short amount of time. It's not going to solve all of our issues with testing in this area, but it could help get a little jump start to making those numbers improve.
Can you say how many tests are happening here daily or weekly? I think I had this data.
Yeah, we have a range of tests being done every day, and you can see probably from some of the numbers that I've reported over time, but it's on average not an incredibly high number, and that number over time has been, going down. But I would say on average about 60 tests, 60 tests per day, with a lot of fluctuation based on day. And it's not increasing. So typically most days are between 40 and 60 tests a day, and we certainly want to be well above that. So what's the gold standard for Eau Claire? Again, I think that's one of those questions that we continue to ask at the state level. We definitely want a good percentage of our population tested because this is a disease where the symptoms are very low. So there are two data points that are being looked at in order to get a sense of what's going on in the community. One is called illness surveillance. So those people that are coming into an emergency room or an urgent care, how many of those have symptoms that are COVID-like? And that's something that we're tracking in real time across the state. We don't have county-specific data on that, but we likely eventually will have regional data on that. And then the number of tests and the positivity of those tests, how many of the total tests done are positive. I don't have a good count for you yet on the numbers we want to do right now, but it's certainly significantly higher than what we have at the moment. Yes?
Also in regards to testing, is the call center here in Eau Claire getting a lot of calls or even some calls from people who have symptoms that can't?
So the question is about our calls coming in from people that want to get tested that are not getting tested. Our call center has been set up very specifically to respond to general questions for people. So certainly we get some questions about testing and we respond to those. We do know that there are some people that are not getting tested because the systems that they are in, the healthcare networks that they are in, are not testing people that have the lower level of symptoms. They are using the state lab of hygiene criteria, which is healthcare workers and those that are hospitalized, are those with very significant symptoms. Some of all of our healthcare providers across the county are doing some sort of triage. So if you call one of your healthcare providers, if you're in a system, you do get triaged in or out of testing. And that's happening variably across the county depending on which system you are in. So there are some people that do have symptoms that are being told to stay home and not getting tested. Those are the places that we're really working with right now to find ways to increase either their capacity to test or to get those people to be tested elsewhere. Any additional questions? Yes.
As a follow-up, do you have a sense yet how soon that National Guard brief, more intense testing effort could happen, or is that up in years?
Yeah, the question is related to how soon not only could we get all testing to increase, but the specific National Guard asset. Again, that ability for the National Guard to come would be really just a 1 or 2 day blitz of testing. It would not solve our testing issues in this community or any other community. They've been deployed around the state in places where there are big outbreaks. So they have come in Brown County, for example, where there was an outbreak and they had to do a lot of testing in a short amount of time because of that outbreak. This is a different model, but we think it might help give us a picture in our community about what's going on, which is why we're requesting it. The question about when it may or may not happen is, we're not sure, quite frankly. We're waiting to work through some of those details, and it may not in the end be a solution, but we think it's worth exploring, because really it's important to us to have a really clear understanding in our community about what is actually happening with disease. Yeah, the testing work that we are doing, because all of our healthcare providers have a regional footprint of some sort or another, and this ask of the National Guard is a regional ask, it certainly would be available well beyond Eau Claire, and this would be, if it moves forward, likely have locations across the region. Yes?
We've just been getting lots of questions about this. Can you speak to whether any of the 5 active cases here in Eau Claire County are hospitalized?
So the question is related to whether or not any of our 5 active cases that we are currently working with and are isolated, are hospitalized. We aren't providing that information on any individual cases, just for confidentiality reasons. Any other questions? Again, thank you for being here today. We are glad that people are paying attention to what's happening. We are counting on you to help keep this curve flat. I think this community has been doing an amazing job. As indicated in one of the questions, the weather is nicer. It's harder to not be with people we love in a way that can include giving them a great big hug. But we're asking you to stick with it. There are progressive and strategic opportunities to open our businesses and our community. If we don't do it right, we're going to be back right where we started, and I don't think anybody wants that. So let's work together to do it progressively, strategically, and reopen so we can soon be back with our friends and family, doing the things that we all want to do, especially with the weather improving. Thank you.
Hi, so glad that you could join us today to learn a little bit more about an exciting community and educational project that is going on in Eau Claire. And it's about solar on Eau Claire schools, both North and Memorial.
I'm Steve Terwilliger, and retired from teaching college for 35 years. The last 27 were here at UWEC. I'm a citizen advocate for renewable energy, among other things, and serve on the city's Sustainability Advisory Committee.
And I'm Ellen Terwilliger. I've lived in Eau Claire since I went to the university here. I spent 30 years working at Luther Hospital and Mayo, doing staff education. Currently, I'm a Master Gardener volunteer, and I do citizen advocacy for solar and renewable energy.
And I'm Sarah French, the Executive Director for the Eau Claire Public Schools Foundation. I've been in the role for about 4.5 years, and my husband and I moved back here to Eau Claire after we had gone to college here. We met going to college here. And we are excited to be raising our daughters here. We're parents in the Eau Claire Area School District, so we're really excited to see this project come to life.
And Steve and I have 2 graduates of Memorial High School, so this project is especially near and dear to us as well. Probably 10 years ago, people might have said that solar was really too expensive to be commonly used. That is no longer the case. We can get energy from the sun and use it to produce energy for our use. It is being used on a massive, massive scale by utilities, by people who own their own homes, by businesses, and it is right now the cheapest form of energy that can be constructed on a massive basis, along with wind energy. So one of the things that is especially valuable about doing this project is that the City of Eau Claire, the County of Eau Claire and the Eau Claire Area School District have made a pledge to be using 100% renewables by the year 2050. For that to happen, we need to be putting renewable energy in many places, and putting it on the schools is a good start. So let's talk a little bit more about the Solar on Schools project. A lot of this is being made possible when the Couillard Solar Foundation said, we're going to donate half of the panels for the 2 Eau Claire high schools. What's really exciting about this is Cal and Lori Couillard, who started the foundation. Cal is a graduate, a 1973 graduate of Memorial High School. Their 8 Couillard siblings all went to school here in Eau Claire, and now they'd like to give back. The Solar Foundation provides, their goal is to provide solar panels for 100 schools in Wisconsin, 100 public schools, and to do that in the next 4 years. Cal feels like it is extremely important for that to be happening now. We have a window of time with what's happening with climate to make this difference. So a question that you might have is, what will the cost of this installation be to me as a taxpayer, to the Eau Claire Area School District? And the thing that's really nice about this, of course, the Couillard Solar Foundation is going to pay for half of the 100 kilowatts to the schools, each of the schools. And then an anonymous donor is going to cover the cost of the other half of the panels if we meet our fundraising goals. So again, there's no cost to you as a taxpayer. This is coming from private donations. So who's all making this happen? Well, first of all, we've mentioned the Couillard Solar Foundation. And then besides that, there's the Eau Claire Public Schools Foundation. And you'll hear a little bit more about that from Sarah in just a short while. We have been working with a licensed electrical contractor and a solar installer to make sure that we have a correct site assessment, that the engineering studies have been done, and that everything will be appropriate for our 2 school sites. Then we have a fundraising and marketing committee that is in place, and this is made up of school teachers and students who are extremely excited about this project and all the environmental and educational advantages. We have members of the community. We have a couple members of the Couillard family who are taking part. And we have our executive director from the Eau Claire Public Schools Foundation as well. Steve and I have been, as we mentioned before, have been local solar advocates, and we are co-chairing this project. So what are some of the particulars of the project? I had mentioned briefly there will be 100 kilowatts of solar that would go on each Memorial and North High School. This comes out to 312 solar panels on each school. And that comes to about $10,000 of savings for each school each year. 156 of those modules are being donated by the Solar Couillard Foundation. The other 156 for each school are by an anonymous donor when we meet our funding. I think one of the things that makes this project different than just taking part in a utilities renewable energy program is that this really empowers our students to think about renewable energy, the effect it can have on the environment, and to learn many other new things. It empowers our students. Steve is going to talk a little bit more specifically about that, how that takes place.
Yes, this project ties in strongly with a nationally emphasized STEM curriculum, which stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. Students throughout the Eau Claire School District will be able to monitor and use detailed information from the solar arrays, all available online. And I'd like to emphasize that will be any schools, any students within the district. Students will connect with renewable energy education programs at Chippewa Valley Technical College as well in all of the STEM areas. The Chippewa Valley Technical College connection will provide a career pathway to students as well. Solar PV is now the fastest growing sector for new energy production in the U.S. And Wisconsin actually does have very good resources. People always ask us that question. Yeah, we're good. Wisconsin has a great shortage of workers trained to do the massive amounts of work which has actually already been scheduled by utilities and businesses and others, and that will be scheduled within the next years. The Solar on Schools initiative will help ensure that jobs and investments stay within Wisconsin. Educational and career programs already exist between Chippewa Valley Technical College and the Midwest Renewable Energy Association, one of the major nonprofit organizations which advocates for renewable energy in all of its forms. And they're particularly strong in the educational field of solar PV. These programs are right now being built into connections with high schools throughout the western part of Wisconsin to provide online and on-site internships for students. Pictured here is an engineering rendering showing how the 100 kilowatt solar PV array will look on Memorial High School. And here is how the 100 kilowatt solar PV array will look on North High School. These engineering renderings have been very exciting to see. In terms of greenhouse gas emissions, the two arrays together will reduce hundreds of tons of CO2 emissions per year and thousands of tons of CO2 emissions over their long productive lifetimes. Other types of emissions that are problems for both health and the environment will be reduced in a like proportion.
So, how can you help? I'd like to just mention that we've had so many people say to us, oh, it's about time that the Eau Claire schools have a project like this. And isn't it wonderful that you are doing this? Yes, it is wonderful, but here's the part where you can come in and help. We can't do this on our own. I wish I had $250,000 to give to this project, but I don't. So what we are doing is looking for donations from $5,000 to $5,000 or more if you can afford it. And these donations will go right to the Eau Claire Public Schools Foundation. And they can be used only for this Eau Claire Schools solar project. And at this time, I'd like to have Sarah tell you more specifically how you can donate and how you can access the school foundation and a little bit more about the foundation itself.
So the Eau Claire Public Schools Foundation was incorporated in 2011. The school board said, you know what, we've got a need for this. We've got people who want to help out our schools. We need to have a foundation. And so we were incorporated in 2011. We are governed by a board of directors of business folks in the community, parents in the school district, and then some folks from the district administration office as well serve ex officio on the board. And we exist solely to support the Eau Claire area school district. So we do fundraising on behalf of the district to support their efforts as the landscape of public education funding has changed. And so the need for private partnerships and your support has become much more important. So the Eau Claire Public Schools Foundation is dedicated to promoting value-added education by fostering supportive relationships with the Eau Claire area school district and its alumni in the community, by raising funds to provide learning opportunities for students, teachers, and staff, and by awarding grants for innovative projects. And our vision statement is ensuring the future, making sure that our kids, our public school kids, have the same opportunities that you and I had growing up, and that they have those same opportunities forever, regardless of the public funding of our schools. At the Public Schools Foundation, we have a fund set aside for each one of the 20 schools in the Eau Claire area school district. So if there is a particular school in our district that speaks to you. We've got a fund for that. We also have funds for tomorrow, ensuring that the endowments live on for forever and can forever grant out monies to our schools. And then, of course, we have special project funds, like the Solar on Eau Claire Schools project. And that's where we're asking for your help today. We have a Solar on Eau Claire Schools project fund just for this project. So when you donate to that fund, it supports this project and that project alone. And donating to this project is super easy. We like to make it. So you can donate, donating is easy. You can donate online at www.ecpsfound.org. You can you can mail a check to ECPSF Solar on Eau Claire Schools at our P.O. Box 511, Eau Claire, Wisconsin 54702. And we also accept gifts of IRA rollovers in stock. You know, any way that you want to be able to have an impact, we can help you have an impact with this project.
We'd like to thank you for taking your time to learn a little bit more about Solar on Eau Claire Schools. There is some urgency to this program and to this request. We have a May 1st fundraising deadline. We hope that you can help us out with a donation, no matter how small or how large. It will be greatly appreciated.
The following program was produced by the United States Courts.
One of the things that I learned when I was growing up was my parents' tremendous work ethic and their sense of humility and their tremendous gratitude for the opportunities that this country offered. And I always had a sense that it would be very wasteful not to reach out and take advantage of those opportunities. I was born and raised in a small town north of Saigon. It was a very idyllic childhood. All of that ended abruptly in 1975 when South Vietnam fell to North Vietnam's communist forces. The city was being shelled, and even as a young child, I understood that my parents feared that we would be killed. I certainly knew people who had been killed. My dad was a major in the South Vietnam Army, and so the next task for my dad was really to find a way to get us out of the country. And we were incredibly fortunate to be airlifted out of Vietnam. We went to a tent city that was set up as a temporary shelter for the Vietnamese refugee population in Camp Pendleton, San Diego. My parents were in shock because not only did they have to deal with the loss of their homeland, but also with the prospect of starting all over again, trying to figure out how to provide food and shelter and raise 6 children in a foreign land. Whatever job opportunities came our way, my mom would take it. One of the first jobs that my mom took on was peeling apples and cutting them up and putting them in boxes. And so that was something for which she really required a lot of assistance, because she would do this in the evening hours after her full-time day job. And we would stay up late into the night helping her peel and cut these apples. And that really made a very deep impression on me. The fact that no opportunity was too small to pass by. And I stayed and maintained that, I think, throughout my adulthood. And it really shaped all the decisions that I've made in my life. When I started college, I wanted to major in English literature. And that opened the door for me to go to law school. Even though at that time, could never have imagined or dreamed of becoming a lawyer and a judge. But if I hadn't really strengthened my reading and writing skills, I wouldn't have been prepared for law school. When I graduated from law school, I was very fortunate in a tough market to receive an offer from a big Los Angeles law firm. But I knew that it wasn't my passion. It wasn't what I wanted to wake up in the morning doing every day. And so I jumped at the opportunity to go into the U.S. Attorney's Office, because what I really wanted to do was to be in public service. And even though when I was in private practice, I was making more money than my dad was ever able to make in all of the years that he struggled here in the United States, I still made that choice because pursuing my passion felt like the right decision for me. And that opened up the doors to a career on the bench. In 2002, I was appointed to be a California Superior Court judge, and I was doing it for a few years, feeling for the first time in my professional life like I have everything perfectly balanced. I got a call from a woman that I've known for a long time asking me to think about being a federal judge. The district to which I was appointed, the docket is tremendously heavy. And so I knew that if I accepted that historic appointment, where I would be the first Asian American woman appointed to that bench, I would have to work very, very hard and essentially doubling my workload. And I didn't know if I was ready for that type of challenge. She called me again and she said, "You need to do this." Whenever I face difficult decisions in my life, I'm always reminded of my parents. Seeing that example, I think, has always inspired me to reach outside of my comfort zone. I think you have to have the courage to hold on to the opportunities that you're given that could change the course of your entire life. And that's what I did. And that's how I became a federal judge.
Hi, so glad that you could join us today to learn a little bit more about an exciting community and educational project that is going on in Eau Claire. And it's about solar on Eau Claire schools, both North and Memorial.
I'm Steve Terwilliger, and retired from teaching college for 35 years. The last 27 were here at UWEC. I'm a citizen advocate for renewable energy, among other things, and serve on the city's Sustainability Advisory Committee.
And I'm Ellen Terwilliger. I've lived in Eau Claire since I went to the university here. I spent 30 years working at Luther Hospital and Mayo doing staff education. Currently, I'm a Master Gardener volunteer, and I do citizen advocacy for solar and renewable energy.
And I'm Sarah French, the Executive Director for the Eau Claire Public Schools Foundation. I've been in the role for about 4.5 years, and my husband and I moved back here to Eau Claire after we had gone to college here. We met going to college here. And we are excited to be raising our daughters here. We're parents in the Eau Claire Area School District, so we're really excited to see this project come to life.
And Steve and I have 2 graduates of Memorial High School, so this project is especially near and dear to us as well. Probably 10 years ago, people might have said that solar was really too expensive to be commonly used. That is no longer the case. We can get energy from the sun and use it to produce energy for our use. It is being used on a massive, massive scale by utilities, by people who own their own homes, by businesses, and it is right now the cheapest form of energy that can be constructed on a massive basis, along with wind energy. So one of the things that is especially valuable about doing this project is that the City of Eau Claire, the County of Eau Claire, and the Eau Claire Area School District have made a pledge to be using 100% renewables by the year 2050. For that to happen, we need to be putting renewable energy in many places, and putting it on the schools is a good start. So let's talk a little bit more about the Solar on Schools project. A lot of this is being made possible when the Couillard Solar Foundation said, we're going to donate half of the panels for the 2 Eau Claire high schools. What's really exciting about this is Cal and Lori Couillard, who started the foundation. Cal is a graduate, a 1973 graduate of Memorial High School. The 8 Couillard siblings all went to school here in Eau Claire, and now they'd like to give back. The Solar Foundation provides, their goal is to provide solar panels for 100 schools in Wisconsin, 100 public schools, and to do that in the next 4 years. Cal feels like it is extremely important for that to be happening now. We have a window of time with what's happening with climate to make this difference. So a question that you might have is, what will the cost of this installation be to me as a taxpayer, to the Eau Claire Area School District? And the thing that's really nice about this, of course, the Couillard Solar Foundation is going to pay for half of the 100 kilowatts to the schools, each of the schools. And then an anonymous donor is going to cover the cost of the other half of the panels if we meet our fundraising goals. So again, there's no cost to you as a taxpayer. This is coming from private donations. So who's all making this happen? Well, first of all, we've mentioned the Couillard Solar Foundation. And then besides that, there's the Eau Claire Public Schools Foundation. And you'll hear a little bit more about that from Sarah in just a short while. We have been working with a licensed electrical contractor and a solar installer to make sure that we have a correct site assessment, that the engineering studies have been done, and that everything will be appropriate for our 2 school sites. Then we have a fundraising and marketing committee that is in place, and this is made up of school teachers and students who are extremely excited about this project and all the environmental and educational advantages. We have members of the community. We have a couple members of the Couillard family who are taking part, and we have our executive director from the Eau Claire Public Schools Foundation as well. Steve and I have been, as we mentioned before, have been local solar advocates, and we are co-chairing this project. So what are some of the particulars of the project? I had mentioned briefly there will be 100 kilowatts of solar that would go on each Memorial and North High School. This comes out to 312 solar panels on each school. And that comes to about $10,000 of savings for each school each year. 156 of those modules are being donated by the Solar Couillard Foundation. The other 156 for each school are by an anonymous donor when we meet our funding. I think one of the things that makes this project different than just taking part in a utilities renewable energy program is that this really empowers our students to think about renewable energy, the effect it can have on the environment, and to learn many other new things. It empowers our students. Steve is going to talk a little bit more specifically about that, how that takes place.
Yes, this project ties in strongly with a nationally emphasized STEM curriculum, which stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. Students throughout the Eau Claire School District will be able to monitor and use detailed information from the solar arrays, all available online. And I'd like to emphasize that will be any schools, any students within the district. Students will connect with renewable energy education programs at Chippewa Valley Technical College as well in all of the STEM areas. The Chippewa Valley Technical College connection will provide a career pathway to students as well. Solar PV is now the fastest growing sector for new energy production in the U.S. And Wisconsin actually does have very good resources. People always ask us that question. Yeah, we're good. Mm-hmm. Wisconsin has a great shortage of workers trained to do the massive amounts of work, which has actually already been scheduled by utilities and businesses and others, and that will be scheduled within the next years. The Solar on Schools initiative will help ensure that jobs and investments stay within Wisconsin. Educational and career programs already exist between Chippewa Valley Technical College and the Midwest Renewable Energy Association, one of the major nonprofit organizations which advocates for renewable energy in all of its forms. And they're particularly strong in the educational field of solar PV. These programs are right now being built into connections with high schools throughout the western part of Wisconsin to provide online and on-site internships for students. Pictured here is an engineering rendering showing how the 100 kilowatt solar PV array will look on Memorial High School. And here is how the 100 kilowatt solar PV array will look on North High School. These engineering renderings have been very exciting to see. In terms of greenhouse gas emissions, the two arrays together will reduce hundreds of tons of CO2 emissions per year and thousands of tons of CO2 emissions over their long productive lifetimes. Other types of emissions that are problems for both health and the environment will be reduced in a like proportion.
So, how can you help? I'd like to just mention that we've had so many people say to us, oh, it's about time that the Eau Claire schools have a project like this. And isn't it wonderful that you are doing this? Yes, it is wonderful, but here's the part where you can come in and help. We can't do this on our own. I wish I had $250,000 to give to this project, but I don't. So what we are doing is looking for donations from $5,000 to $5,000 or more if you can afford it. And these donations will go right to the Eau Claire Public Schools Foundation. And they can be used only for this Eau Claire Schools solar project. And at this time, I'd like to have Sarah tell you more specifically how you can donate and how you can access the school foundation and a little bit more about the foundation itself.
So the Eau Claire Public Schools Foundation was incorporated in 2011. The school board said, you know what, we've got a need for this. We've got people who want to help out our schools. We need to have a foundation. And so we were incorporated in 2011. We are governed by a board of directors of business folks in the community, parents in the school district, and then some folks from the district administration office as well serve ex officio on the board. And we exist solely to support the Eau Claire Area School District. So we do fundraising on behalf of the district to support their efforts as the landscape of public education funding has changed. And so the need for private partnerships and your support has become much more important. So the Eau Claire Public Schools Foundation is dedicated to promoting value-added education by fostering supportive relationships with the Eau Claire Area School District and its alumni in the community, by raising funds to provide learning opportunities for students, teachers, and staff, and by awarding grants for innovative projects. And our vision statement is ensuring the future, making sure that our kids, our public school kids, have the same opportunities that you and I had growing up, and that they have those same opportunities forever, regardless of the public funding of our schools. At the Public Schools Foundation, we have a fund set aside for each one of the 20 schools in the Eau Claire Area School District. So if there is a particular school in our district that speaks to you, we've got a fund for that. We also have funds for tomorrow, ensuring that the endowments live on for forever and can forever grant out monies to our schools. And then, of course, we have special project funds, like the Solar on Eau Claire Schools project. And that's where we're asking for your help today. We have a Solar on Eau Claire Schools project fund just for this project. So when you donate to that fund, it supports this project and that project alone. And donating to this project is super easy. We like to make it. So you can donate. Donating is easy. You can donate online at www.ecpsfound.org. You can you can mail a check to ECPSF Solar on Eau Claire Schools at our P.O. Box 511, Eau Claire, Wisconsin 54702. And we also accept gifts of IRA rollovers in stock. You know, any way that you want to be able to have an impact, we can help you have an impact with this project.
We'd like to thank you for taking your time to learn a little bit more about Solar on Eau Claire Schools. there is some urgency to this program and to this request. We have a May 1st fundraising deadline. We hope that you can help us out with a donation, no matter how small or how large. It will be greatly appreciated.
This program is brought to you by Newsworks in cooperation with Eau Claire County. This program is simulcast on WRFPLP 101.9 FM.
Supervisors, I call to order this meeting, this organizational meeting of the Eau Claire County Board of Supervisors on this Tuesday, April the 21st. First item on our agenda will be honoring the flag. Supervisors, please unmute, and we will do this. Wait a moment while you unmute. Everyone? You're still muted.
I even have a flag.
Well, you have one, but pretend there's one. Are you ready? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States
of America, to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, supervisors. To your microphones now, all except Supervisor Jansen, who I think is on, yes?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I think so.
All right, you have the moment of reflection. Please go ahead.
All right, so first I'd like to welcome our new supervisors. I am sure this is not what you pictured your first meeting would be like when you filled out those nomination papers many months ago. But we are so glad that you're here, and we're excited to have you on the team, and do know that we are all here to help you with any questions that you do have. So thank you for your service. I'd also like to thank the county staff for their proven ability to adapt in this constantly changing situation, and for keeping our residents safe and informed. I've just been so impressed with the work that you've been doing. What a ride it's been. I mean, it certainly is an interesting time to be alive. So I'd just like to take a quick moment to share a little bit of wisdom that landed in my inbox yesterday. It came from a leadership coach that I saw at a conference about a year ago, and his name is Dennis McEntee. And Dennis writes, "Today, I just want to remind everyone that while we are navigating uncharted waters, it doesn't mean that we're going to sink. Take a minute to step back and remind yourself that you are capable. Think of all of the success that you've had to bring you to the place that you are now. Though the path and vision may be a little less clear, the goal itself has not changed." I am so proud to be a part of this team of capable, talented, and caring county board supervisors. I have no doubt that we will work together to accomplish our goals and find new ways to continue to protect our most vulnerable populations and continue to enhance the lives of all Eau Claire County residents. So thank you, and let's get to work.
Thank you, Supervisor Jansen. The next item on our agenda is a certificate of action calling on. Someone is shuffling something. Please stop.
Mute.
Or mute. I'm going to call on the county clerk at Loomis for the certificate of election. First, to verify that all supervisors have taken the oath, and second, to read the certificate of election.
To the Honorable Eau Claire County Board of Supervisors, I, Janet K. Loomis, County Clerk for the County of Eau Claire, State of Wisconsin, do hereby certify that at a spring election held on the 7th day of April 2020, that the following persons were, by the greatest number of votes, duly elected to the office of County Board of Supervisors for the districts herein stated. for the term of 2 years commencing on the 21st day of April 2020, as appears on the certificate of the County Board of Canvassers on file in my office. District 1, Gary G. Gibson. District 2, Sandra McKinney. District 3, Joe Knight. District 4, Stella Pagonis. District 5, Carl Anton. District 6, Dane Zook. District 7, Steve Chilson. District 8, Kevin Stelgis. District 9, Donald Mowry. District 10, Nancy Coffey. District 11, Ray L. Henning. District 12, Pauline A. Bates. District 13, Connie Russell. District 14, Judy Gatlin. District 15, Nick Smyer. District 16, Emily Heretta. District 17, Martha Neiman. District 18, James A. Dunning. District 19, Gerald Jerry Wilkie. District 20, Nathan Anderson. District 21, Mark Beckfield. District 22, Catherine Schneider. District 23, Robin Leary. District 24, Heather DeLuca. District 25, Melissa Jansen. District 26, Tammy Schroffnagel. District 27, Zoe Roberts. District 28, Kimberly A. Cronk. And District 29, Missy Christofferson. I do want to note that even though Emily Heretta won by the most votes, she will not be taking her seat due to the fact she will not be living in District 16. So District 16 is a vacant seat. Thank you.
And we will address that, and I will provide information for that. We will be filling that seat according to our usual procedures, publishing a public notice of the vacancy of the seat, asking the public for applications, setting a deadline, and I will interview the applicants, and then it will be reviewed by the Committee on Administration. We'll make a recommendation. I'll do an appointment and bring it before the board. I'm hoping we can do it before the next meeting. If not, it will be 2 meetings from now. So, Janet, you're verifying that everyone has taken the oath, other than Emily.
Correct.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is election of board officers.
Nick?
Yes.
Call of the roll.
Oh, I'm sorry. My eyeball skipped over that. Thank you very much.
I might have to go here. We got County Board.
McKinney? Present. Knight? Pagonis?
Excuse me, Janet. Joe Knight?
Yes.
According to he's on.
Are you seeing him? Okay. Pagonis?
Everybody's unmuted.
We're all muted, so we have to unmute.
Unmute just for this.
Yep. So present.
Thank you. Anton? Zook?
Present.
Wilson?
Present.
Stelgis?
Present.
Mowry?
Present.
Coffey?
Present.
Henning?
Present.
Bates? I did see Bates, so I will count her here.
Present.
Russell?
Present.
Meyer?
Present.
Beeman?
Present.
Dunning?
Present.
Wilkie? Anderson?
Present.
Beckfield?
Present.
Snyder?
Present.
Leary?
Present.
Luca?
Present.
Anson?
Present.
Stroffnagel?
Present.
Roberts?
Present.
Cronk? And Christofferson.
Present.
And just because of the setup we have, I'm just going to, and Supervisor Gibson?
Present.
Oh, you're here? Okay, thank you. So who I have absent is Anton, Gatlin, and Cronk. Oh, Gary.
Janet,
yes.
Judy is trying to connect, so I will let
Okay.
you know when she's able to.
I will say she's here then.
Cronk
I
is
just-
here. Cronk is
Okay,
here.
thank you.
You're
So I
welcome.
just have Anton is not here. Okay, so we have 7 present, 1 absent, and 1 vacancy.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Supervisors, please mute your microphones at this point. Next item on our agenda is election of board officers. Since I am new to this process because I was elected in the last go around, I'm going to ask for the assistance of our corp counsel to ensure I'm doing this properly. Our custom is to do our elections by nomination from the floor. We're going to take the offices one by one, beginning with the county board chair. According to Robert's rules, nominations can be made from the floor without being recognized by the chair. However, because of our setup this evening, I'm going to ask supervisors to make a request to speak in order to make a nomination so that we don't have confusion and people speaking over each other. So,
Nick, this is Tim. Just so we're clear, and I understand that you refer to Robert's rules, but we do have a specific rule with regards to nominations under section 2.04.020 sub 1. And I'll just read it quickly so that the board is aware of the process.
Okay.
Nominations for the office to be filled shall be called for by the chair and may be made by any member of the board upon recognition by the chair. The person nominated shall immediately state an objection if he or she wishes the nomination to be withdrawn from consideration. Nominations so made need not be seconded and shall be entered by the clerk. The chair shall request 3 times if additional nominations are to be made, and hearing none, may entertain a motion to close nominations. If there is only one nominee, a voice vote to cast a unanimous ballot is in order. Nominations having been closed, the board shall proceed with written ballots to vote for one of the nominees, assuming there's more than one. If any of the nominee receives a majority of the votes cast, he or she shall be declared elected. If no nominee receives a majority of the votes cast on the first ballot, successive ballot shall be taken with the nominee receiving the lowest number of votes on the third ballot being eliminated until one of the nominees shall receive a majority of the votes cast.
Thank you. Again, because of our unique setup, there's going to be a gap between the time that you request to speak to make a nomination and the time that the chair acknowledges. So please be patient with the process. Okay, the first office is County Board Chair. Are there any nominations for County Board Chair?
Mr. Chair, this is Supervisor Bates.
Well,
and I would, excuse me. Go
sorry.
ahead.
I was going to say, Supervisor Bates, you should make the request to speak, but since you've already started, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I would like to nominate Nick Smyer for Chair of the Eau Claire County Board.
Okay, thank you for the nomination. Are there any other nominations for County Board Chair? For the second time, are there any other nominations for County Board Chair? For the third time, are there any other nominations for County Board Chair? I see no request to speak, and I have not heard anyone speak. Therefore, I believe, Tim, I want to consult with you. Do I look for a motion to close nominations, or do I proceed to the nomination by acclamation? You're muted, Tim.
Language says if there is only one nominee, a voice vote to cast a unanimous ballot is in order.
Okay.
You would need a motion to have a unanimous ballot, and then you would vote on it.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I would move that we close nominations and cast a unanimous ballot for Nick Smyer for County Board Chair.
We have a motion. I believe we need a second for that.
I'll second. This is Tammy.
There you go. I think we can proceed to a vote then. I believe we could do it by voice vote even in this situation, correct, Tim?
That's correct.
All those in favor of,
Unmute.
unmute. All those in favor of the nomination of Ms. Meyer for chair, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Those opposed by nay. It is a unanimous ballot. Thank you for your vote. We proceed now to the election of the first vice chair. Is there any nomination for first vice chair?
I move to nominate Colleen Bates as our first vice chair. This is Nancy Coffey.
Thank you. We have a nomination of Colleen Bates, Supervisor Bates, for first vice chair. Thank you. Are there any other nominations for first vice chair? For the second time, are there any other nominations for second vice chair?
First vice chair.
I'm sorry, first vice chair. Thank you. I ran ahead of myself there. Sorry. That was the second time. For the third time, are there any other nominations for first vice chair? I hear none. The chair would look for a motion regarding casting unanimous ballot.
This is Schneider, and I would move to close nominations and cast the unanimous ballot for Colleen Bates.
Schneider, a second.
This is Gary. I'll
second.
This is why I wanted to have a more orderly way to do this. But I have a second again. Three of you came on.
Yep.
This is Gary. I'll make the second.
Second by Supervisor Gibson. Thank you. All those in favor of closing the nominations and by unanimous vote electing Supervisor Bates as first vice chair, indicate by saying aye.
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 Thank you. Congratulations. It is a unanimous vote. Supervisor Bates is our first vice chair. The next office is second vice chair. Are there any nominations for second vice chair?
This is Judy Gatlin. I'd like to nominate Supervisor Jerry Wilkie.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Stelgis seconds.
I'm sorry, we don't need a second for a nomination. Sorry.
No, we don't.
No. Sorry about that. Are there any other nominations for second vice chair?
Hi, this is Supervisor Kronk, and this is very reminiscent of about, I believe, 2 years ago. But I just want to say that in showing when there's interest in sitting for these positions, I think it's really important to bring names forward of those who are interested. So I am bringing forward Jim Dunning as the nomination as well.
Okay. We have two nominations. Are there any other nominations for second vice chair? Are there any other nominations for second vice chair? For the third time, are there any other nominations for second vice chair? I hear none. I believe what we do now is proceed to a vote by secret ballot. We're not doing this by voice vote since it's not going to be unanimous. So I think I need to have the help of Samantha.
So what I'm doing now is emailing you a SurveyMonkey link. This will be an anonymous vote with the two options for Supervisor Wilkie and Supervisor Dunning.
Thank you. How will it appear?
It's going to appear to your Outlook email, your county email, and you'll just click and open the SurveyMonkey, pick one of the two,
Okay.
and hit done.
Saw it. Thank you. Mine's not coming up.
Just give it a little bit of time. I just sent it. I have 8 answers already.
Samantha, I'm on my personal computer.
You should be able to go to Outlook on either Chrome or Internet Explorer and sign into your county email.
Mine just came through.
Were you able to email mine to my university account, Samantha?
Yes.
I haven't received it yet.
Should get it here in a second.
So how do we toggle between the meeting and SurveyMonkey on a browser?
Did you ask how do you do that?
Just
Yes.
click your home button.
I'm not finding my home button. Can you help me with that too?
Nancy, do you have a new iPad, brand new? Did you just come get one?
No.
So if you're on your iPad, the home button is in the middle, the bottom, the little
Yeah,
square.
I'm not seeing that at all. I'm seeing a person with a little red dot.
No, your button.
No. Look at the border on your iPad. You have a big button. It's either going to be either on the right-hand side, the left-hand side, or the bottom of your screen, depending on how you have your iPad sitting. If you hit that home button, it's going to minimize what's on the screen, and you'll be able to
I see it.
multitask from there.
There we go. This one, right?
Thank you.
How's it going, Samantha?
Refreshing. I have 23 responses.
Home button. Where do you see a home button?
We have 27 online.
Yeah, that's what I tried to use.
Samantha, we have 27 present.
Yes.
Ray doesn't have one yet.
I'm still not finding the home button. All I'm seeing, I see home and tools on the top of my.
No.
Your home button is the one that you push to log in with your password to start the screen on the iPad altogether.
The hardware.
Oh, the
To turn
hard
it on.
button. Okay. Okay, that's why. Thank you.
Chair Smyer, I'm just waiting on 4 more.
Ray doesn't have it yet.
Supervisor Gatlin came on, so we have 28, I believe.
Right. Supervisor Henning, are you able to get to your email?
No, I haven't.
Thanks.
And you're using an iPad, correct?
Yeah.
So you want to hit the home button, that round button on one of your sides, and then open your county email.
I've got step 3, click, open. Where do I go from there?
The survey came to your email, so it should be actually the first email that you see when you open it. Chair Smyer, I just have 2 left.
Which 2?
I don't know. No, anonymous.
Supervisor Henning. Any success?
I don't know why I can't get on my mail.
Supervisor Henning, what does your screen look like?
Right now it's access a meeting.
So you want to get out of that and click on that home button. That brings you to your main screen where all of your applications are. how you sign into your iPad when you click that button.
It's on the black border of your iPad, Ray.
Yeah, I've got it loading. It says loading accessories and scenes.
Oh,
Shouldn't be loading anything.
Here it says poll questions and
No, you're not. You don't
Yeah.
want to be on the